Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivinoda Swami Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhaktivinoda Swami Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Jayanilo Prema Dhama Varuna Prachur Jayanilo Prema Dhama Karuna Prachur Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela हेनो प्रभु कोथा गेला कहा मोर स्वरूप कहा सनातन कहा दास रघुनाथ पतिता पावन कहा मोर भट्ट जुगा कहा कबीरा एका काले कोथा गेला गोरा मतरा एका काले कोथा गेला गोरा मतरा आशाने कुबीबो माथा अनले पशीबो गौरांग गुणेरा निधि कोथा गेले पावो गौरांग गुणेरा निधि कोथा गेले पावो से सब संगीरा संगी जे कोइलो बिला से सब संगीरा संगी जे कोइलो बिला से sangana paya kande narotamana. Se sangana paya kande narotamana. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur,
Super summarization. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sya Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today, very auspicious day, the disappearance days of Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura and Gadadhar Pandit. So we'll try to just briefly summarize the important contributions of these acharyas. So as we were discussing in the Bhakti Vaibhav class just now, that we were comparing the process of jnana, yoga and bhakti. And so we're discussing how only because of the grace of Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, Srila Prabhupada, and our acharyas, we are having such a simple process of devotional service. And I'm sure everyone is eagerly looking forward to the prasadam. I don't know how many are really eager to hear what we're going to say. But that's the wonderful aspect of the process. So we don't have to get into so many technicalities and the difficulties of studying the Upanishads and the Vedas and the Vedanta Sutras and all that. We can try to understand how much ever is possible, but then we have a process which is much more possible by the grace of our acharyas. And as His Holiness Prabhupada Saraswati Maharaj in the morning Bhagavatam class, he was quoting Srila Prabhupada saying that the modern Krishna Consciousness movement has basically been founded by Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. And so Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura is definitely instrumental in envisioning the modern Krishna Consciousness movement as we are seeing the movement unfolding. And I'm sure most of us are aware of Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's visionary statement that he was envisioning and also he was expecting, when will that day come when the British and the Americans and the Russian and the Chinese and the Africans, have you left any other nationality from here? Excuse me? Nepalis, okay. So everyone from all parts of the world will join with the Bengalis and the Indians and chant Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandan Gaura Hari. So of course we have the Navdeep Mandal Parikrama as a testimony to Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's prediction. Now we have the Chinese also, and so many Russians. So that was what Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura envisioned. And of course, he also envisioned the Senapati Bhakta, the commander-in-chief of the army of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who will take up this task of spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So one of the very prominent contributions of Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, which is instrumental in allowing this to happen, is the discovery of the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was almost lost and unknown to most of the people at that time. And so many unscrupulous people were claiming to be different places to be the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and sort of using that as a means to increase their own popularity and funds. And as Maharaj was explaining this morning, that at a certain point of time, Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura actually had come here to Vrindavan, Radhakund, and he was quoting a bhajan also which he had written, where he was almost planning to settle down here in Vrindavan and Radhakund and these places. But then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in a vision to him and instructed him that you have descended into this world to discover my birthplace and the entire Gaur Mandal and start the Navdeep Mandal Parikrama. And so you have all these instructions and all these activities that you're supposed to do. So when Mahaprabhu spoke in this way to him, then it was at that time that he gave up this idea of settling down here in Vrindavan And then once again he embarked on this on his journey of fulfilling Mahaprabhu's desires. And so when he was doing this, so then he did elaborate research into all the various scriptures connected with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavad, Chaitanya Mangal, Bhakti Ratnakar, and he quoted one verse from the Bhakti Ratnakar, which I don't remember exactly. But he quoted a verse from the Bhakti Ratnakar, which says that very specifically that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth in Mayapur. Because at that time, many people were thinking that he took birth in the town of Navadvip, as we know, across the Ganges. And so they didn't have a clear idea, but he found this particular verse where it was very clearly said, Mayapur. And then he was explaining, in fact, those days, Mayapur was not even known as Mayapur. It was known as Miapur, because most of the Muslim population. And so Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura almost came to a clear conclusion of the birthplace. But then one day, he was in Navadvip, and he was, because at that time he didn't have his own house in Navadvip, he was staying in the Rani Dharmashala. And one night, he was on his terrace along with one of his sons. His son and one servant, they were on this terrace. And they were looking in the direction of Mayapur from there, and where we currently have the Yogapeeth, the birthplace. From that site, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura saw a brilliant effulgence, brilliant light, just spreading that whole area. And so Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura almost got a very clear vision of the birthplace. And so the next morning, and of course, he asked his son, do you see that effulgence? The son agreed. The servant could not see. Any case. So immediately the next morning, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, he came to that place, and he saw that entire area was filled with tulsi plants. And so he called the owner of that place, and so he asked him, so he was a Muslim, the owner of that place. So he asked him, since when have these tulsi plants been growing? And so the man said that these tulsi plants have always been growing here. And in fact, it seems he said that for me, these tulsi plants are useless. I have been trying to cultivate other crops, but even though I put other seeds and try to cultivate other crops, the other crops don't grow, the tulsi keeps growing. And so the man said, this place is useless for me. I can't do anything. So then Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura said, so would you like to give to me? So the man said, take it. What do I do? So that's how Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura got the place. And then, of course, then he wanted a final confirmation that this is the actual birthplace. And for that, he got Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who at that time was almost 120 years old. He could hardly walk. He was being carried in a basket by his servant Bihari Lal. And so he could hardly open his eyes. His eyelids also had to be pulled up for him to see. That was the situation. So he got him to that place along with a huge kirtan party. And as soon as Jagannath Das Babaji reached that place, right from the basket, he was jumping. The person who could barely walk, he was jumping and dancing. This is the place of the birthplace of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He was chanting Gauranga, Gauranga, and jumping and dancing. So Ṭhākura got the final confirmation that yes, this is the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we know that he went collecting 1 rupee from different people to get the money to construct the temple. He didn't want the credit to go to any one person or 2 persons. He wanted everyone to take part in that service of constructing this temple over there. And of course, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, the magistrate, when he went, then obviously people gave. So that was one major contribution of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And of course, we have his almost more than 100 books that he has written. Some of the important ones, Harinam Chintamani and Bhakti Rahasya, Bhajan Rahasya, and so many other books. And of course, we have his Vaishnava songs. In fact, before every Bhagavatam class, we sing Jai Radha Madhav. So that was also written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because his deities were Radha Madhav. So meditating on his deities, he wrote that beautiful song. And another important point to learn from his life is that how a Vaishnava, though fully absorbed in his devotional activities, his devotional duties, but at the same time is never negligent in his occupational duties. And that's a very important lesson for all of us to learn, because most of us are involved in so many occupational duties, family duties. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur maintained a beautiful, absolute balance between the two and carried out all his responsibilities so wonderfully that even the British at that time were impressed. And as the magistrate of Jagannath Puri, so he was also handling the administration of the Jagannath's temple. And he was instrumental in bringing up the proper spiritual standards and also removing corruption. So there's a pastime of how there was this king of Puri at that time who had cheated the temple. He collected funds up to almost, I think so it was 80,000 rupees. Just imagine, at that time, 80,000 rupees. Even now it's quite a good amount. So he had amassed the wealth through some corrupt ways. Of course, things have been happening then, they're happening even now. So these things keep happening. But when Bhaktivinoda Thakur came to know, he was very upset. And so as the magistrate, he gave a punishment to the king. It was good punishment, quite a transcendental one. So he told him that he has to sponsor all the bhogas for the deities for the next 1 year, and which obviously amounted to a good sum of money. And so he was very upset. He was very upset with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so he wanted to take revenge. And I ought to take revenge and kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So then he arranged some tantric priests to conduct a sacrifice, a yajna. And by this yajna, by the end of the yajna, it was decided, it was understood that Bhaktivinoda Thakur would die. And so the yajna was going on for about 1 month. And then on the last day, the last ahuti was to be put. And when the last ahuti was put into the yajna, the king thought, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is finished, he's dead. Nothing happened. On the contrary, the king's only son died. And the man realized his mistake, he begged forgiveness. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very responsible. And also, I'm sure many of us have heard the story of this bogus Mahavishnu avatar, Bishak Sen, who was also performing so many illicit activities and all that. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had him arrested. And when he was arrested, then so many things were happening to Bhaktivinoda Thakur's family. His wife was so sick. His daughter was almost on the deathbed. And finally, when Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a severe chest pain, his wife was pleading with him, give up this idea of arresting this Mahavishnu, leave him. Our family will die. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, no, I will have this person arrested and teach him a lesson. He was determined to do that. And so on the final day of the 18 days, the trial went on for 18 days. On the final day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's health was so bad, severe chest pain, but he came to the court in a palanquin, and then he gave the final judgment, sentencing this bogus avatar to imprisonment. I think it was life imprisonment. And so when and of course he had so much of following, he had a big following, all of them were protesting outside the court and all that was happening. But as this man was being taken to the jail, of course there are two versions, some say it was Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, some say it was a British person who knew that all the yogic powers of these yogis is in the jata, in the hair. So the man came with a huge scissor and cut off the long hair, the jata. And as soon as the hair was cut, the man lost all his powers. He fell down on the ground. Anyways, he was put in the jail and later he died, committing suicide. So that's what happened. And of course, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's exemplary life as a householder. So, and of course, he was so competent even in his court duties. It is said that every day he would resolve almost 30 to 50 cases. Normally, a judge who would take maybe 6 months to a year to resolve one case, he would do that in one day, 30 to 50 cases. So, very competent even in his material duties. And of course, he's known as the seventh Goswami because his life was exactly like that. Those of you who have read his schedule, hardly sleeping 2.5 hours per day, and then throughout the day, busily engaged. 6 hours court duties. And besides that, so many devotional activities. Established more than, 400 or 500 namahattas, and so much of preaching. So, so much can be said about Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. And then, of course, one of the very important contributions is, even at that time, he wrote this book, Lord Chaitanya, His Teachings and Precepts, and sent it to McGill University in Canada. And our devotees got that book actually later on. So that's how, even at that time, he was envisioning this worldwide movement. And so that's the reason why Srila Prabhupada said that actually Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura is the foundational person for starting this Krishna Consciousness movement all over the world. So I think so those are a few thoughts about Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura. And regarding Gadadhar Pandit, as we know, is in the Panchatattva, Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani, incarnated as Gadadhar Pandit. To assist, of course, we know Krishna with the mood of Srimati Radharani, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Srimati Radharani herself came to assist in his pastimes in this world. And from the childhood, both Gadadhar Pandit and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very close friends. And Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, so his favorite deities were Gaur Gadadhar. So he established Gaur Gadadhar in many places. And so Gadadhar Pandit and Gaurang Mahaprabhu were close friends right from childhood. And one or two important, interesting pastimes. One interesting pastime is his initiation. So Mukundat, one of his close friends, had invited him to meet Punrik Vidyanidhi. And so Punrik Vidyanidhi, great Vaishnava, so he told him, very great Vaishnava, I'll take you. And Gadadhar Pandit was very fond of meeting, having darshan and serving Vaishnavas and sadhus. So when he heard from Mukunda that there's a great Vaishnava, so he was very eager to go. So he went over there and he saw Punrik Vidyanidhi, who was materially very opulent. And so he was seated on a high seat, silken robes, silken turbans, and he was chewing pan and betel, and his nice, beautiful hair were smeared with sandalwood oil, scented with sandalwood oil, and he had people on two sides with charmers and peacock fans fanning him. Occasionally, he had mirrors on the side. Occasionally, he would be looking beautiful face into the mirror. So Gadadhar Pandit was saying, what, Vaishnav? Oh, this doesn't seem to be Vaishnav. Where has this person brought me? And so Mukunda, understanding his mind, then he sang this beautiful shloka by Uddhav in the third canto of the Bhagavatam, Aho Bakiyam Sthana Kalkutam. And as soon as Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard the verse, remembering Krishna's merciful nature, total ecstasy, fell down from the high seat, ripped apart all his cushions and the seats and his clothes. So all the symptoms of ecstasy were exhibited. And then Gadadhar was wonderstruck and he was thinking, oh, I've committed a great offense. Such an exalted Vaishnava. So important lesson for us, never judge a Vaishnava by externals. That's an important lesson for us. And so then he was thinking, how should I atone for this offense? And so he thought the only way is to surrender to Pundarik Vidyanidhi, become his disciple. Confirmed it with Mukunda and Gaurang Mahaprabhu. And that's how he got initiated from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And he was so attached to Gaurang Mahaprabhu. Gaurang Mahaprabhu gave him this place in Yameshwar Tota. That's a garden where there is Lord Shiva there. And so he gave him that place over there, very secluded place to reside. And an important quality of Gadadhar Pandit was he would very beautifully recite and explain the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Gaurang Mahaprabhu would regularly hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from him. And especially the pastimes of Dhruva and Prahlad. And the reason why he would not very often recite the direct pastimes of Krishna from the 10th canto is because then Mahaprabhu would go into total ecstasy. That would be another scene. So therefore, he would not do that. But once he began to recite these pastimes from the 10th canto, and Mahaprabhu went in total ecstasy. And so as he was sort of rolling on the ground and all that, and finally he became steady. And this is what Maharaj was explaining this morning. And so finally he lay down with his hand pointing in one direction. And so when the devotees saw this, so they understood that definitely Mahaprabhu must be indicating something. And so then where Mahaprabhu's hand was indicating, so over there, they began to dig. And then very soon came this beautiful deity of, it was a 7-foot tall deity. And so then Mahaprabhu told Gadadhar Pandit, so because of your recitation of Bhagavatam, Gopinath has appeared. So you worship Gopinath. And so that's how he began worship of the Gopinath deity. And he almost took Kshetra Sannyas. That means he vowed to remain in Jagannath Puri for the rest of his life worshipping Gopinath. But he was so attached to Gaurang Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu was going to Vrindavan after his sannyas the first time. So at that time, Gadadhar Pandit began to follow Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, no, you cannot come. You have taken Kshetra Sannyas, you have to remain here, worship Gopinath. But Gadadhar Pandit said, my dear Lord, wherever you are, that is Jagannath Puri. And as far as my Kshetra Sannyas is concerned, let it go to Rasata, let it go to hell. So that was how he was so much attached to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was saying, no, what will people say? They will criticize. So he said, no, I will go another way. I will not follow you. I'll go another way. Any case, so finally, of course, when Mahaprabhu came to the river to cross, at that time, Mahaprabhu told Gadadhar Pandit, no, you cannot come. So he was very strong about it. Then Gadadhar Pandit, Mahaprabhu boarded the boat and he left. Gadadhar Pandit fell down unconscious. And so that was his great attachment to Gaurang Mahaprabhu. And then he continued his worship of Gopinath. And after Lord Gaurang Mahaprabhu ended his earthly pastimes by entering into that same Gopinath deity. But after that, in the feelings of separation, Gadadhar Pandit became, because he almost stopped eating, drinking, so became very feeble, very old. All the symptoms of old age began to manifest. He could hardly walk properly. And so he could hardly dress, even put the garland for this tall Gopinath deity. And so he was going to give up that service and hand it over to somebody else. But Gopinath was so eager to have the loving service of Gadadhar Pandit that the next morning, Gopinath sat down So I think so that's practically the only deity of Krishna sitting down. And now also we can see this beautiful deity. So that's how Gopinath accepted the service of Gadadhar Pandit. He loved that service of Gadadhar Pandit. And of course, he ended his pastimes also by entering into the same Gopinath deity. So these are a few words on Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura and Gadadhar Pandit. Jai Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Tirabhav Tidi Ki Jai, Śrīla Gadadhar Pandit Tirabhav Tidi Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Thank you so much to our Vamshivadan Prabhu for giving us some insight on the life of Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura and also Gadadhar Pandit. I take this opportunity also to welcome Vamshivadan Prabhu back to the VIHE. Thank you so much. So we are going to proceed with the Pushpanjali. As it is a today, very short ceremony. We have to take lunch also, and there are more classes after lunch. So I welcome everybody to please rise. And we have flowers here, so we'll be singing. You can follow the prayers, the Pushpanjali prayers. Hopefully all of you are familiar with these prayers. We'll simply be chanting all the mantras for the Guru Parampara, Mahaprabhu, and the Lord. So our prayers may reach them. So please follow after me. And come forward. And please be ready. Somebody can distribute the flowers. Remember that we will be offering the flowers 3 times. Hari Hari Bol. Om. Yes, please repeat. Om. Anjana. Timirandhasya. Jnananjana. Shalakaya. Chakshur. Unmilitam. Yena. Tasmai. Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati iti namine. Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Krupabdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryochvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dīnatarine Rupanugam Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dhantaharine Namo Gaurakishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambha Rasambhode Padam Bhujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumistvam Nirdishta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Suratau Pangor Mama Mandamatir Gati Matsarvasva Padam Bhojau Radha Madana Mohana Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimad Ratnagara Sinhasanasta Srimad Radha Śrīla Govinda Deva Prishthālibhi Sevyamana Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vamshivata Tatastitaha Karshan Venu Svanir Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now we will chant the pranam mantra of Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura and offer flowers 3 times. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Esha Pushpanjali. Please offer your flowers. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Esha Pushpanjali. Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchidanandamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Esha Pushpanjale. Please offer your obeisances to Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura, and do not forget to offer a prayer for his blessings. As we have heard, Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura is very much the person who had the vision to spread this movement all over the world, first of all by utilizing the English language. So we pray to him to bless us with understanding of Shastra, with devotion to the Lord, and the ability to convey the message of Srimad Bhagavatam to others. Hare Krishna. Srila Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai.